What is going on, guys? It's Jack here, and today I'm going to be bringing you a quick little tutorial for beginners on flying jets, i.e. the A-10 Warthog or the attack jets, and the F-35, also known as the stealth jets. The names don't mean that much of a difference, but we'll get into that later. This is just going to be a quick little tutorial explaining the basics of both of these jets, how to improve your flying style, and just, even if you're a veteran, just something to watch just to see if you can learn some tips. So, this is just going to be really, really simple for you guys. So, right now I'm on the test range. I'm just going to show you first off how to essentially get into the vehicle. I understand that this might be very noobish to some, but this definitely can help others if you are literally just starting out on Battlefield. Now, I will note this is for PC. I did play on console on my PlayStation, so I do know how to do it on there. If you want a little tutorial on the PlayStation or Xbox way, just, put a comment. I'll definitely do one on that. But for now, I'm sticking with the PC because this is what I play on mostly now. So yeah, let's get right into it. So right when you spawn into the map, you're gonna see, your control points, okay? And essentially, you're gonna see your little vehicle slots, that's what I call them, okay? And there's these little grids that contain vehicles, and you can see the little white outline signifying what the vehicle looks like. So most of them are common sense. Like for instance, if you hover over this AH-6J Little Bird, you can definitely tell that this is a helicopter, whereas this is a plane, just by looking at the picture. As for these are boats, and these are, jeeps, little buggies, anti-air, or sorry, I'm sorry, these are LAVs. Um, got your transport tank, and this is your transport for rush. But anyways, this is what you're going to be coming across when you first spawn into the game. So what you want to do is you want to click on your whatever base controls this plane or any vehicle, but for now we're doing the plane since that's what we're talking about. You're going to go to that base and you're going to just click on the image, okay? Um, Pretty straightforward, just click it and you should see a picture right here signifying what it is if you want to look at that. For here you can kind of see. I never use this ever. There's really no point in my opinion, but someone who's starting out, this could be good. For the Jets, it does not show it because they start out in the air in Battlefield 4, so you can't actually look at it like that. Also, quick little tip, you can see what you have equipped for each vehicle in the game. Just a nice little thing if you want to see, for instance, your attack jet. You don't want flares, you want ECM jammers. Uh, just switch it up like that. So, to hop into a vehicle, you press spacebar, enter, or you double click it, and that will send you into the vehicle. For now, this is going to be the attack jets and stealth jets, as I've been saying before. If it is not open, this is just a quick little tip. If it is, you see a slot, but it is grayed out, that currently means that someone is occupying that vehicle. So, a cool little thing to do if you haven't memorized the names yet, because you will not be able to see much of the image. It'll be very darkened, so you won't be able to visibly see that this is a plane. If you haven't memorized the names of them or what they are, you can just press escape and this will show you in the background pretty much the player's perspective of who's in that vehicle, okay? So if I hover over this and I press escape, you see this, okay? If someone was flying this, you'd see their exact perspective. You would see this actual helicopter in the air taking out targets yeah. So that's a quick little tip to find out, either A, you don't know what vehicle this is, you can press it and see, oh, is this an attack jet, scout, chopper, you don't know, just click it, you can kind of tell, this is the attack helicopter. Tank works the same way. Works for any vehicle, okay? Now, also B, this could be useful if you want to see, is this plane right here, is it worth waiting in the menus for it to spawn again or not by just pressing and seeing if it's this background right here, or just looking into nothing, no control, no cockpit at all, then that signifies that the plane has crashed and it is currently in its respawn time. So let's get on to the next part. Just as I said before, press spacebar, enter, or double click. I usually press spacebar. So I'm just going to hop into this jet right here, and you'll see it is open. As you can see, I am currently controlling this 100%, right like this. Alright, so now I'm going to teach you essentially how to fly this, starting from the very basics, which is accelerating, decelerating, and turning using the all this using the WASD keys. So if when you spawn in, you're going to be like flat like this, okay? What you're going to want to do is press S just to start with, or this is what I'd recommend, okay? And S will slow your plane down a lot. Here, let me just turn so I don't go outside the map here. But S decelerates your plane a ton, okay? This is really useful for things that I'll talk about in the future, just later on in this video. But this decelerates. S is what decelerates. If you hold it, you'll start to go slower and slower and slower until you reach your minimal speed. And your movement, I will say, it gets a lot less, okay? Your movement up and down gets a lot less sensitive. It is a lot more precise, which is great for taking out vehicles, but this is how you decelerate, okay? To accelerate, you press and hold W, and this will start to give you speed. As you can see now, I've given it speed. It's building up. It's not instant. And you can see now it is much easier to do everything. So that's it for that. To turn, basically what you do is you press the A and D keys. This, when you first start in, you might be like, well, this isn't turning. This is pathetically slow. And you are 100% right. This is a terrible way to turn, okay? So slow. You see I go outside the border there. This is very bad. This is completely ineffective. Never use this. Well, if you want to turn as in just straight up movement to get around the map, then definitely do not use this. But, you know, if you're going in for a target, this is very helpful because it is very precise. You can aim exactly where you want, and it's just very nice like that. So that's how you do that. That's, like I said, not the most effective way. Now I'm going to be going on to, we're moving away from the WASD because that was pretty much all I said. Quick little summary. W gives it gas, as I am now. Okay. S slows it down. Okay. Like right now I am going very slow. D D turns it, and A turns it, depending on the way that whichever button you press. So that does that. Pretty straightforward once you know, get the hang of it, but, you know, something that obviously I'm going to tell you. So moving on now to the mouse, this is kind of where the magic happens in terms of taking down targets and pretty much just maneuvering, okay? So what the mouse does is it controls your tilt, okay? So pretend like this is a bar tilting. Pretend like this is a bar, okay? It's just tilting, okay? It doesn't really turn me that much. It just is just a tilt, okay? It makes my plane go upside down, up and down. Okay, it's just that it has nothing to do with speed, okay? Speed is your W and S keys, okay? Easy way to remember that. WS keys speed, mouse is for pretty much maneuvering, okay? So with this being said, you can maneuver a lot better by basically turning or holding it straight like this, and as I was talking about earlier, if you use your A and D keys, it is very slow. But if you turn it sideways by using the mouse and moving it over to the right, and then pulling down on the mouse, which is signifying going up. This is if you have inverted controls. If you do not have inverted controls, I would highly recommend it because that's just that's just kind of the standard. If you don't use inverted controls, it's totally fine. It really is just preference. So use whatever is most comfortable for you, but in this video I'm going to be referencing flying with inverted controls as talking like that. So, for instance, like I was talking, you tilt, sideways, and then pull up essentially by pushing, in my case, since I have it inverted, by pushing the mouse down. And that will make you turn. Basically, how this works is if you do it when you're level like this, if you just pull up, you're going to go up into the air. And this is the exact same thing if you turned like this. Your plane is essentially facing this way, so up to this plane is sideways to us. It kind of seems complex, but it's really quite simple if you really start to understand it. So just remember, if you want to make sharp turns, tilt the plane to the side, whichever way you want to turn. So say I want to turn left, I tilt my plane over to the left by moving the mouse to the left, and then I pull up by pushing or by pulling down on the mouse, okay? And there is a lot more effective way to turn um, in this game in terms of PC controls, but this is the best way to turn in the game by tilting and then pulling up, okay? Um, Also, something to keep in mind is when you're going slow, I have found sometimes that when you're sideways and go slow, you can sometimes lose control. Just keep that in mind, you know, if you're going in for a target. I don't know, that might have been a little bug or something. They might have patched it, but, you know, that could just be how they want the game to be. So, yeah. Next, we're going to talk about pretty much spotting with the plane. Okay, so you've found out how to turn, you know, do spin and stuff by just turning the mouse and slowing down with the S key and accelerating with the W key and using A and D to do small little movements. Now I'm going to talk about the best way to spot. And this applies for pretty much any map in the game. This is a little bit more technical. You don't need to do this. This is just a personal preference. But basically the way that I do it is I fly up high in the air, I turn sideways, and then I look down like this, okay? And you'll see some video clips at the end of me doing stuff like this, but this is the best way to do it because when you're, say, facing, I'll just turn down and face the map right here. When you're like this, A, you're losing altitude, so, you know, you have to kind of regain that altitude, and B, it's just a lot more, you don't get as much screen realty to really see the surrounding area, whereas, let me just fly up here, whereas when you are up high, you see the whole map pretty much, especially on a map like this, you see the whole map and you have a lot more realty to deal with. You know, you can really spot by just spamming Q and looking. And then the second you spot a vehicle, you let go. By the way, to turn your plane, you hold the right mouse click and you move the mouse, okay? And when you do this, your plane is completely inoperable, meaning you cannot do anything with the plane. So just have it like this and look down, spot, just like this. Say you see a vehicle, you let go of right click, you're in here, turn upside down or however you want, and pull up and start going for it just like this. Alright, and that is pretty much the basis on how I do all my attacks. It does differ through some people. People have different methods, but I usually do the kind of swoop from above as I find that the most effective because, you know, like, I don't know, like attack boats, tanks, they can't actually reach up there, so you can't really get hit by them. Alright, so that's how I spot in the game. So I can see where the enemies are, turn down, I'll give you an example right here, turn down, and take them out. So, yeah. Also, something to keep in mind, when you're going in for targets, I would recommend slowing down fully, as that, like I said before, basically the main premise of this is so you have more time to take it out. It is really straightforward. It's kind of common sense in a way if you know, get used to it. Just slowing down does make it a lot easier to take it out because you do have more time to deal with the target, okay? That's just what most people do is when they're flying. Oh, jeez. Alright, well, I'm doing a live commentary right now, so Yeah. Alright. Alright guys, I'm back. Sorry about that little failure right there. So we were on the discussion of slowing down to attack enemies. This is something that's pretty important that you should do. You definitely can get kills without doing it, but it is just one of those things that I would just recommend doing because it does help. It does not hurt, and it does help. So that's that for that. Next subject we're going to be talking about when flying in these jets is when to pull up. Okay, so we've gone over the basis of how to spot. So when you're like this and you look down, you see something, okay? You go in for the swoop attack. I say it like a bird, like I think, kind of picture it like a bird going in for its prey, okay? When you go in for the attack, you got to know when to pull up, okay? And a lot of this just comes over time of just playing and playing and just understanding how the plane works in terms of knowing, how fast am I going, so that's when I have to pull up. Because the faster you're going, obviously the sooner you'll need to pull up, which is just something to keep in mind. So say when I go in for this vehicle right here, okay? When I go in for it, right now I am perfectly eligible to go in. But right about here, I should probably pull up, okay? And fortunately I did destroy my target, but a lot of the times you just can't get the target without crashing. And that's a big problem that a lot of people have is they are too target hungry and they go in for the kill, get the kill, but they end up crashing. And when in reality, yes, you got the kill, but it would have been much better to pull up, surround again, and easily still get the kill. So that's just my 2 cents in terms of that. Know when to pull up. Like I said, it just comes after practice of just playing, understanding how the vehicles, work, how the attack and stealth jets work, and just figuring out when you need to pull up. But remember, always, always, big tip, remember to pull up. Pulling up is priority over taking them out, okay? Taking them out, granted, that's what everyone wants to do, and that is the point of these, is to help your team, but you also need to make sure that you save yourself as well, because you're a lot better to miss the target, swoop back around, kill it, and then be able to take out even more targets than taking out one and then dying, okay? So it still is a better help for your team. Make sure you do it. That is just a fact. Don't go in for the kill, and don't stay down too long to the point where you die. It's just not worth it. Alright, so now I'm going to discuss how to practice more, basically. How you can get good at these, like I was saying, with the pulling up, just knowing the jets. I'm just going to tell you, like, how you can practice more in terms of everything, really. I mean, just how to practice, and that I would recommend fully the test range. Just be on the test range, take out like right here, taking out vehicles like buggies and stuff. Just go around taking out some of these boats, tanks, LAVs, ribs, you know, buggies. Take out some of these vehicles. Or also a good one is these little drones or these remote control little drone things. I don't really know what they are fully, but you know, practice around flying those. But one thing I will recommend is a lot of people say, stick to the test range so the pros can, so you don't have to like ruin the team by being in the real scenario. And while yes, that theory makes sense fully and I completely understand it, and for the most of the time of me playing Battlefield, I did believe that, but I have changed my sides because I feel that while the test range does offer quite a bit of, let's just say, practice, it isn't like the real thing, okay? It's not real battle where the enemies are really unpredictable, okay? I mean, it is really good for knowing the movement. I'll stay in the practice or stay in the test range if you just want to learn the movement, but and practice taking out some targets using the mouse and the A and D keys for precise movements. But when it comes time, head into a real game. Yeah, you might crash a few times, but you have to experience it in the real game, okay? You're not going to. nothing is going to get more experience than actually being in the game. You know, this theory works for pretty much every subject related to this, such as war in real life. I mean, you're on the test range, all like, you know, you can practice a ton, you can practice boot camp, and yes, that is extremely good practice and it does work, but you never really see the full effect of it until you're actually there and you're actually overseas or you're actually fighting. So, good little tip there. Yeah, you might die and yeah, you might, blow up a few jets, but getting that, you know, real like training in the real game is definitely an important aspect in the game. And I definitely think don't be discouraged to hop into a game and just try it out. But first, definitely go to the test range just to get the movement down, okay? I mean, basically the test range is if you're an ultimate new player to this, just being in the test range is good for that if you don't even know the controls. But once you can, like as you see me here, once you can take out targets like this, head into a real game. Okay, yeah, you might get shot down. Yeah, people might get a little mad, but there's no way you're gonna learn until you're in an actual game. Okay, so don't get discouraged by that. You definitely have my approval. Hop into a game, take out, get into a jet and take them out. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for the basics of this tutorial. You're gonna see some gameplay of me actually in a real game, flying around doing some of the tips that I was showing you today. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you want me to make one for other vehicles, such as the helicopters, or maybe a review on tanks, or any vehicle, feel free to leave it down below and I'll be sure to check it out. But as always, thank you so much for watching, guys. Peace out and see you next time. Alright, I'm heading in. Alright, you see this attack boat?
Yeah.
I'm gonna launch my...
Attack check jet.
What?
We just freaking rammed into each other. It's like I just
Well, I knew that they existed in the battle pack, but I didn't know how to actually, like, equip them.
what? Need to repair this thing. I'm one TV missile away from being blown up.
You can spot any vehicles, I'd be appreciative.
Oh, that's the crap.
Huh.
Freaking AC-130.
Oh, I love that thing.
Please give me this.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
Yeah.